Okay, awesome. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Teresa, thank you. I'm going to include that. Thank you so much for sitting down with me to record our conversation about your coaching journey. I'm excited to go through that from how it started to the middle of the process and then how things have gone since. And also, I'm just excited to share your story. You were an absolute blast to work with. In fact, I would say you are basically like the model for the type of person that I want to work with. So thank you so much for sitting down with me to do this.
Thank you. I'm really flattered. It was such a great journey. And I still use a lot of, we'll get into it, but I still use a lot of the skills and stuff today. So I'm excited to
Awesome.
share it with everyone.
Awesome. So if you could just give just a quick bio, name, what you do,
Yeah.
career.
So my name's Teresa. I'm a mom of a 17-year-old who's heading off to college in the fall. Um, I have three cats and a husband, busy life. I have been in the corporate world. I work in insurance. I've been there for over 20 years now, hard to believe. I've been with a couple different companies and I'm just, I've been looking to kind of find out what the next steps in my journey are.
Yeah. So what uh, what specific problems or challenges were you facing that kind of got the ball rolling where you said, you know what, I could use some help with this.
Yeah, so for me, it actually really all started with listening to your Small Town Secret Sauce podcast.
Okay.
So we had worked together, obviously, previously in the corporate world, and I knew you had moved out of corporate into something else, but it wasn't really until I heard your origin story that I realized that I needed to reach out to connect with you on a coaching level. Hearing how you and Amy went through the process of finding your dream place was really, really inspirational to me. And then listening to all of the podcast guests talk about finding their passions and taking that big leap to live their true, authentic lives really kind of set me thinking about myself. So I realized in doing that I had no idea what my passions were, what
Mhm.
living my true, authentic life would look like. I was just kind of moving through every day, making sure that everyone else was cared for. And in the pre-work for our first session, you asked me, what do I want more of in my life? And going back and looking at that, the first on my list was support, both at home and at work. And it really made me realize that in taking care of everything and everyone else, I was pouring from an empty cup and not bringing the best me to my life and my career. So that's what led me to reach out to you.
That's and were there when you did the reach out, were there any reservations about is this the right next step or any sort of roadblocks that you were like, okay, well, what about this? And then overcoming that to say, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, just reaching out to somebody I hadn't connected with in a long time is anxiety inducing in and of itself. So just kind of getting over that initial thing. And I'm like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like we don't connect. You're like, who are you? And like but I did, and I'm thankful. And kind of some of like the biggest concerns I had about the reach out was I had never worked with a personal coach before. I'd worked with a
Okay.
personal trainer, but that's a whole different ball of wax, right? So I wasn't really sure kind of what to expect. And for someone like me, that in and of itself causes some level of anxiety. Like I'm someone who rewatches the same shows and movies over and over because I know what's coming and I know I already like them. So my biggest hesitation also was really wondering if I was going to get anything out of it. But I absolutely did. And like part of what you brought as a coach was helping me to dive deep and push past the barriers that I had put up for myself. So I could really make some awesome realizations and really determine what my path could look like. So those like personal touches and customizations that we were able to make along the way really just made it a program that was focused specifically for me. And I think that took away a lot of that anxiety, right? You're also just an awesomely nice person and like you're so fun to work with. So that helped as well. We relate on a lot of things and I think like that personalization and customizations really is what made the difference for me to continue to follow some of the things that we started during my sessions.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for saying that. And I love that approach just because I've done programs.
Yeah.
And when it's like, well, okay, I mean, I'm a self-learner, so I can sit there and go, well, that's not for me. Let me jump on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got that out of it because that is honestly my favorite part to do is to sit there and see what's going on and go, oh, let's dive a little further into that.
Right.
So
Yes.
when we started going, all right, so you had the reservations. Obviously, we connect. We do have some history,
Yeah.
but it had been well over
A
10
long time.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, from when I left the corporate world. Um, when we started working together, do you have any sense of when there was a specific moment where you were like, oh, okay, this is working?
Yeah. So there were actually a few moments that kind of when I realized that working with you was making a difference for me. So the first one for me was getting in tune with the universe, right? We talked a lot about quieting my monkey brain and learning to opening myself up to what the universe was putting in front of me. So sometimes there were really small things like quotes or stories that came across Instagram or LinkedIn, and others were much bigger, like me reaching out to both current and former colleagues to help identify superpowers. And like so many people, I struggle with anxiety and imposter syndrome. So hearing from people I respect about what I'm good at and like things that come naturally to me that might not to others really kind of helped quiet those voices of doubt that like are always kind of like way back there, right? And then when those voices start yapping at me today, I go back to that list of superpowers and my Hall of Fame achievements to remind myself that, like, I got this. I actually, in prepping for this, that's exactly what I did. And I was reading through, I was like, yes, I am awesome. So, like, and
Oh,
then, like, one other thing that really kind of helped me was an exercise we did about making note of 3 daily wins. So this really helped me to focus on the positive things that were happening in my life every day instead of always being frustrated at what wasn't happening, because that's a challenge I face every day. I try to be positive, but sometimes you just get stuck in the frustration. So doing that really helped, and it's actually something that's become part of my daily habits and that I continue to do today. Like some wins are big, like my teenager getting accepted to college, and some are small, like simply it's Friday. Like, but taking the 1 to 2 minutes to reflect on what's happened and to jot them down in my vision planner really helps keep me focused on the good things that I have going on. And then since I'm tracking them all in the same place, at the end of the year, I can go back and see the progress I've made through my daily wins. And I can be like, was 2025 really sucky? No, actually, look at all these things you did. Like, was it sucky in the world? Yes, but for me personally, maybe I had some really big wins there that I can chalk up. So,
I love that, and what I also love is you're a very willing student.
yeah.
Because what I say to people is that I don't have your answers, only you have them, but I
Yes.
can give you tools on how to unlock them, and we just try things out to see what works, and then when we find that something that does, then we're doubling down on that, going
Right.
further. Um, would you? So obviously, it helped open up your vision for being able to see more of the fuller picture.
Yeah.
What impact did that have in your professional life and your personal life?
Yeah, so really, I think the biggest impact I've noticed from both the coaching sessions and the Pushing Past Fear boot camp that I did with you, which was an awesome boot camp, was really discovering that sense of passion that I was missing, I feel like. So finding what my next steps were both in my career and my life. And so, like, thanks to the sessions with you and the Fear boot camp and the homework that I did between each of them, I know the focus of my future career path. And then I even have the start of that path for my second act when I do finally leave corporate America. So I do have the tools to help put those both in place, like from the vision boards and the superpowers, and really the biggest of all, just knowing I have cheerleaders out there on my side and that I don't have to do any of this alone.
Awesome. So you gained the support that you were looking for.
Yes,
That's awesome.
totally.
And would you say that you also gained clarity?
Yes, definitely. I did.
Yeah, that is literally half the battle is just getting
Yeah.
clear. Um, let's see, what three takeaways that you've taken from our sessions would you share with somebody who was in a similar
Yeah.
position that you were, that just felt stuck and unsure of where to go?
Yeah. So I guess the first one, and I had to really think on these, like that was like all the other stuff like was easy for me. This was the hard question for me.
And why is that?
So, um I'm not sure. I guess I really had to like cuz some of the things I do, I just kind of like do now, right? Like the tracking the 3 wins, the
Mm,
revisiting my a letter to myself, revisiting my Hall of Fame, revisiting my superpowers. Like I kind of just like do them now. They've become part of that, taking that pause, taking that time, listening to the signs. I still work at that because I'm my brain goes all the time. So
yeah.
quieting the noise is still a challenge for me. But to actually sit down and like come up with 3 solid takeaways was a little bit of a challenge. But I guess the first one, after thinking about it, that really still resonates with me every day is that I can do scary things, right? We did a lot of work on this both in the coaching sessions and the boot camp. And so for me, the scary things look like communicating needs instead of suffering in
Mm,
anger and silence, reaching out to friends, current and former coworkers to help identify those superpowers, and then utilizing my network for referrals and information about new opportunities in the corporate world. So pushing past that anxiety, like what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They don't respond to me. Okay, then I'm no worse off than I was when I started. But what if they do respond to me? What if they refer me for the job? And what if I get it? Like, so just kind of like getting through that. So that was really the first one. And then the second one is kind of going back to something we've talked about is that I do need to really listen to what the universe is telling me, right? So this one's hard for me. As I said, I always have a plan A to Z ready to go. Like my brain is always on and it's always firing. So like learning to quiet that to hear what or where the universe is directing me towards is something I still work out every day. I look for the small signs that I'm moving in the right direction. So maybe it's a job that I applied for, but I didn't get. Instead of taking that
mm,
as a negative, maybe it's like, well, that wasn't the one for me. What's maybe my next great adventure is on the horizon. Or maybe it's someone in my network letting me know about a new opportunity. It could just be that quote that shows up in social media or that someone sends to me, but it's there and it happens for a reason. So I just have to remember to actually listen.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
that was hard. And then the last one really was the affirmation that I came out with that I am enough, right?
Mm,
As like I mentioned earlier, like so many others, I deal with imposter syndrome, and the work I did with you and my friends and coworkers to identify my superpowers and unfair advantages and me putting down my Hall of Fame list, what are all the great things I've done? Like it really showed me that I've done a lot. I'm really talented, I'm really smart, and people think I'm fun and easy to work with. And like that may not sound like a lot, but like when you walk through life doubting yourself and the efforts and the work that you put in, hearing from people that I respect that I'm good at what I do and that I'm kind in the process, that really means a lot.
yeah. And that's always like the biggest shame in the world. And I've been there, you know. A lot of people just struggle with that. You know, they're just thinking so many horrible things about
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And, it's so brave to ask for help, especially if
Yes.
you're someone like you and I that are like hard chargers. No, we got it. We're going to plan everything out.
Yeah.
And to sit there and say, you know what? I can't do it all on my own. And we're not wired to do that as human beings.
Correct.
We have strengths, and then other people have strengths where we have weaknesses, and it's about getting that together. So
Yeah.
thank you for
It
sharing that. That was
yeah.
definitely the part I noticed in your journey that was the biggest leap.
Yeah. I mean, like asking for help, so hard for me. I literally have strength tattooed on my arm. Like it's
Yeah.
literally. So, like for me to come to that realization that asking for help is also a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness, that was
Yeah.
big.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What is the what is the type of person that you would recommend for my coaching, and why?
I think like really anyone who feels stuck in what they're doing every day. To those people maybe who still don't know what they want to be when they grow up, right? They're still looking for that passion, and they're not really sure how or where to find it. And also to those people who like maybe thought they were doing what they wanted, but now they've reached a point where it just doesn't bring joy anymore.
Mm,
Like it's hard, like we just said, asking for help is hard. It's not a sign of weakness, and, like, the growth you can make if you're willing to put in the work, like, it's huge, and you can unlock your passions and unlock your true and authentic self, and, like, you can find what your next path is supposed to be if you're not happy with the one that you're on.
awesome. Thank you. And if the person like let's just say there was like a referral situation, you're
Mm,
like, you know what, I think I got somebody that would be good to work with you. And to that person, any words of wisdom that you would give them in terms of questions that would be good for them to ask for themselves, and then as well to ask of me in vetting out whether or not it's a fit.
yeah, so definitely asking of themselves, like, am I committed to making myself better? Because some of what you might learn on this journey is going to be a hard message. So you have to know that you're ready to take that on. So are you ready to make that commitment? Do they really want to break out of the burnout routine that they're stuck in? Like you might think you do, but change is really hard. And sometimes what you don't know can be more scary than that burnt out, frustrated place that you're in. So is that really what you're looking for? And then I think the last one would be like, will I, as the coach E, be able to commit the time to do the homework to get the most out of the coaching experience? Because you're only going to get out what you put in, because no one can do the work on you but yourself. So are you ready to do what that takes, even if it's hard? And
Yeah.
then asking of you as a potential coach, maybe like, how are you going to help me grow? And how are you going to help me push past my fear? Um, what does the time commitment look like? Outside of just like meeting, an hour every week or every other week, like what is that? Make sure it's going to work with where you're at in your life right now. And then what's the style of coaching? I know what your style is and it really works for me. And are you willing to flex? Is the coach willing to flex to kind of like meet halfway if it's not a complete like mesh. So,
I love that last one. And I'll tell you why I love it so much, because I'm going through a coaching program myself right now. And it was more, I fell back into the I don't know anything mindset, right?
mm,
And
hmm,
here's the person who knows everything. And there became a point of like almost frustration where I was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm not having some ownership in this." So I think the very last one you said for the question of me, I think is incredibly powerful, because that's that agency, you know, somebody who's coming to me, it's like you're not broken. There's nothing wrong
right.
with you. You just hit a place of burnout, and
Yep.
so don't think you have none of the answers. You actually have them, and it's almost like demand on me. Make this
Yeah.
hard. Like this is not supposed to be something that's easy or a zip zap and you're done.
Right.
So I love that agency piece.
Yeah.
Um, and then before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Um, I, I just like it. It's a great experience. I mean, I just thought it was a great experience. Putting the time and the effort and the money into yourself, you can't really ever go wrong with that because you have to invest in yourself before anybody else is going to. So just if you're waffling, do a one session, try it out, see if it fits. Like because I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You get better. Like you find your passion, you find your joy, you get out of that burnout situation. Oh shucks,
All right.
So just um I don't know, just do it.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, very much Nike.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
well, like Teresa, I'm so proud of you. I have to
oh, thank
say
you.
that doing this stuff, it I get so much out of it by watching you grow, by watching that light just start to radiate from out of you, and to see the steps that you're taking. Like it's, I'm unbelievably proud of you. And obviously we've become very close friends, but
Yes.
just seeing that journey, and it's just like I said, it breaks my heart to know that so many people, all you got to do is you got to use put in some effort, find out who you
Yeah.
truly are, your passions, your superpowers, and get really clear on what matters most, and life becomes so much easier. So you're a gem,
Oh,
and
thank you.
um, I love you dearly, and thank you for sitting down to do this.
Absolutely. I love you
And
too. And it was great. You're an awesome coach. Like 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. So
thank you. Well, and also, so for those of you who are watching, Teresa really does set a gold standard as in terms of the type of client that I'm willing or wanting, feeling called to, I should say, work with, because there's a burning desire to get out of the rut and to really find what is there for me, and meaning you, and also homework. You're willing to do the work, and you're also willing to give the feedback, whether I
Mhm.
ask for it or not. Like, hey, I'm struggling with X. This isn't really working. I think I need more of this over here, and that allows me to then pivot and serve you. So if you're watching this and you would like to explore working with me further, if you're watching on the website, there is a calendar link below. Just snag a 30-minute spot and we'll do some exploring and see if we might be a good fit. And at the very end of the day, regardless of what happens, I will identify a key area in your life that you need to make some serious movement on, and come up with a practical 3-step roadmap to get you to start making major shifts in your life. If you are watching on YouTube, just go to bartonquigley.com/coaching, and I will drop that link on YouTube in the first comment. Teresa, I can't say enough good things about you, and loved our experience together. And it was fun to have you circle back and jump in the Let's Do Scary Bleep boot
Yeah.
camp, because that was super fun.
It was super fun, and like would recommend that if you do another one too. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
probably do it again because I'll probably have new scary bleep to deal with in the future.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you don't, then I'm like, are you
what are you
growing?
doing? Exactly. What are you doing?
What are
Are you
you doing?
growing? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, even if it's just watching a new show, right? Like it's still scary.
Right. Even if it's just watching the news.
Yeah, no.
Awesome. All right, Teresa, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bart. Love you.
Yay. Love you too.